Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to this impromptu video on project LS400. As you can see behind me, the new windscreen is in, and I'm very happy with the end result. Everything is finished. It's in for a week or two now. The glue has cured and I can install the windscreen wipers and the cowl, and I'm waiting for the trim to go on top of the windscreen, but it has to come from Japan, so it may take a couple of weeks. But anyway, the project has been on the back burner for a while now, and the reason for that is I had a lot of other projects, a lot of car reviews to film, was quite busy with work. So this afternoon, even though it's beautiful weather outdoors, I just wanted to work on the LS, and I will show you the progress in this video so all of you are up to date. And I will make a new episode for the next project on the car. So I have to install the seat, but I wanted to leave the driver's seat out. The driver's seat is sitting over there in that on the pile of boxes. Oh, let me show you. I will show you the interior in a second, but I need the driver's seat to be out because I wanted to check the remote control door locks and unlocks, and for that I need to have the driver's seat out, or I need to, that's not true, but I need to have access to an ECU that's hiding on the driver's side, so leave that out. I will do an episode on that project because I received a lot of questions, because it's quite a common problem with these first gen LS400s. So the next full episode will be on that, and hopefully I am able to fix it. And yeah, this afternoon I'm just going to install the wiper motor, the wipers, and all the cowling that sits under the hood. And I'll show you well, what things look like. And I'm gonna film this just with my phone camera. I didn't feel like taking the camera along and the audio equipment and all. I'm just gonna do a handheld video, so all of you are up to speed. Anyway, let me turn the camera around. Well, let me first show you the windscreen and how it's in. The guy that installed it had a lot of experience working with Toyotas, and yeah, he ordered a special kind of foam tape that is in there as sort of a spacer, and yeah, it wasn't on there. So as said, the old window that was in, yeah, was completely incorrectly installed. Now it's correctly installed. Now I'm just waiting for the trim. I've ordered a trim piece from the second gen LS400. I'm hoping it will fit, but because yeah, I don't want to drive like this. And also on the other side is a little pinhole that I need to plug. I was hoping that the glue would cover it up when the windscreen was glued in, but yeah, that's not the case. Anyway, as you can see, there's the interior with the driver's seat still out, and over there under that panel live a bunch of ECUs, and one of them is the door lock ECU, and that communicates with the remote door unlock ECU that's in the trunk. Took all of that out. I need to be in there, and I thought, well, when I have the seat out, I have more room for activities, so that's why I left the driver's seat out. But anyway, I'm gonna open the hood and I'm gonna install the whole shebang. I'll give you a couple of before and after shots. Oh yeah, and it reminds me, that top section of the headliner is still sitting in our living room, to frustration of my wife. I have to clean that up a little bit, and then we can install that too, because I have a lot of the panels are on top of the car here, but it's bird nesting season, and inside the farmhouse there are a whole bunch of swallows, yeah, making a mess. As you can see, there is a roof light, and the birds are picking up straws and such to build their nests. Yeah, and just doesn't get any cleaner over here. Anyway, enough jibber-jabbing, I'm going to get working. So that's the wiper motor in. It's held in place with 4 bolts, and these bolts all have a loose collar to isolate the vibrations from the car body. Now the next thing is the most tricky part in this whole operation. You see these two little, yeah, those are foamy rubber pieces, and those are, if you don't know how they go in, you will never be able to find out. They sit in the corner over here where the hinge meets the fender and the windscreen, and they are used to guide the water coming out from this side rail, which I currently took off, and to guide it into the cowl. There is a water drain under there, so I gave it a once over, wiped it clean a little bit, and now I pull this out. As you can see, there is a little slot in there, and that's where the washer tube is fed through, and this one sits over here. And yeah, if you don't know how that goes in, it's next to impossible to find out. But I looked at my friend's LS400, see how it sits, and basically it sits in this position, so it catches the water coming from the rail and then guides it into the water gutter. So I have to be able to pull that in. But before I'm going to do that, there's my can of WD-40, and this is my secret sauce for mounting those older rubber parts. I give them a spritz, and that rejuvenates the rubber, and it makes them a bit greasy and slippery to handle, so you get fingerprints all over. But it also makes the installation of those pieces much easier. So I give them a once over, they're dry and clean now, then give them a spritz with WD-40, and then I'm going to struggle them in. Let me try to show you how this sits. So over here is this is the washer fluid line. This is a plastic panel. There is a large sort of triangular part that sticks underneath the fender. And then over there in the corner, which is next to impossible to see, that it consists of a larger part that goes onto the fender. And there's a little part that goes into the rail over here. Let me film it from another position. So this is looking from the top. This is the top section that goes over, sits in between the fender and the rail over here in the windscreen. And this is a little part that catches the water and guides it into the water drain in the cowl. So this is how it's supposed to sit. Well, up next are the cowl panels, and the right side one, for us it's the passenger side. So the right hand side one goes in first because the other one overlaps in the middle. So this is how they look. They are clipped in place. I'll show the clips and such in a second. So the cowl panels are in, and you have to know on this edge are little hooks, 4 in total per panel, that hook underneath the windscreen. Now I hooked them in, and then I looked at those holes. There is a weather stripping is clipped in here, and all the holes align perfectly, so that tells me that the new windscreen is in the exact right position. So that's a real good job from the installation guy. Happy with that. Now they clip in place with a couple of these clips which have a little ball end. And they go in here, and that doesn't exactly secure right because these things are old, and also have to push this little washer tube in. But it's held in place eventually with some split clips and those little, these are the same kind of clips that you use. Let me show you. It's like these with a little hook that keep the weather stripping in place. Anyway, that's how that is done. The next thing to go in is this little mechanism, this pivot point for the secondary wiper arm, which has a tiny little captive nut on that. Now I cannot do this with one arm, with one hand, because this has to slide underneath. So I'm gonna put down the camera and show you the end result, which is, well, basically simple. This rubber edge, that lip doesn't sit entirely flush, but yeah, that's old age. I'm not going to replace that. Anyway, the next step is to put the wiper arms on. Now we have to be careful because you're never 100% sure that the wiper motor is in its resting position. So I'm gonna put the car on contact and put the wipers on and off. Wait till I hear the retraction mechanism, and then it's safe for me to put the wipers on. Alrighty, let's put the key in. Put the car on contact. And just push the start once. Not sure if the camera picked it up. Listen very carefully. That last buzz is what I wanted to hear, because that tells me that the wiper motor is in its resting position. So now I can put the wipers on. Look at that. That's the wiper arms back on. What you have to know is that you start off with the passenger side first. Let me show this in a close-up because there is that little rest, and I made sure that it almost rests on that. And then I put it on and put the cap nut loosely on. And the second one to come on, of course, is the driver's side one. It's a bit tricky with that secondary pivot, but in resting position it should look like this. It touches, or it almost touches, that little rubber thingy on the second wiper arm. It should not press down on it. That's something only we can test when the windscreen is wet. But hopefully by the end of this week I will be able to drive the car outside and just do a test drive and go through the car wash, because Yeah, it looks pretty darn bad right now. I washed it before I put it in. That's what I always do before I put the car in winter storage. But yeah, it always ends up like this. Oh yeah, and there's one thing that I need to do. There is a tiny little pinhole on the other side. If you watched my previous video, you know about that. And what I'm going to do about that is I'm just going to put some RTV in there. So once that is in, I'm finished for today. There's one thing that I need to do, and that's is to put this weather stripping in. But I believe I have left that at home. Or do I have it here? These are the weather strips for the door. No, I think it's still at our house. But also need to apply a little bit of sealant on there. You have this, it's called it's very soft, sticky rubber. Oh, the name doesn't come to mind. But I use that to put it in because the clips that are in here that hook into the seal and then clip into the bodywork are all broken. It was like that when I got the car. So that's why I use a little bit of that sealant. Once I have that over here, this task at least is finished. And the only thing that I need to do is then install the trim piece when it gets here in time. Well, that's it for now. Car is back on its charger. Battery was a little bit drained. Let's close up the hood, pull the covers over, and finish this little short episode on project LS400. Now, really hope that the trim piece comes in time, and hopefully I have a little bit more time next month to go working on the door lock system. And before I get the car out, when I get it running, I want to do an oil change. I need to do an oil change, and that is one thing that I really want to do, and that has everything to do with these door frames. Over time they come loose, and I took these ones out on the driver's side. It was a whole lot of work, and it was very easy to damage the paint because I even took the window out. But yeah, that did more damage than it actually fixed something. So that's something I want to do on the other side, and I'm trying to think of a method to repair it without taking the whole shebang off. Anyways, that's it for this real short update on project LS400. I hope you liked following me along. This is a task that is fairly simple, but you have to know what you're doing, especially with those rubber pieces that go in the A-pillar and how to install the wiper arms correctly. If you don't do it right and you don't have the wiper motor in its resting position and you put the wipers on, you can damage that whole mechanism, and yeah, that'll cost you a lot of money to fix it because yeah, you can only replace it with OEM parts, which are almost extinct or very expensive. But anyway, that's it for now. I hope you learned something. Please give me a like, subscribe to my channel, and if you have any questions or constructive feedback, let me know down below in the comment section. For now, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.